The alien princess's shock. The hero who saved her world is someone she once knew. Gardens floated in the air, flowers glowing faintly with their own light, and streams of crystal-clear water danced from one levitating platform to another. The sky above shimmered with soft pink and blue hues, like the colors of a gentle dawn. Yet despite all this beauty, Syria felt a growing unease in her heart. Leora had always been a world of harmony. Its people were kind, curious, and creative. For generations, they had maintained a balance between technology and nature. Their energy core, a brilliant crystal at the planet's heart, powered everything, from the cities to the gardens to the floating rivers. But now, the core was weakening. The lights of the cities had dimmed slightly in the past months, the streams had slowed, and some gardens had begun to wilt. Even the sky seemed less bright than it had once been. Syria's advisors had been worried for days. They spoke of unseen disturbances and ancient malfunctions, words that sounded confusing and frightening. They suggested sending teams to repair the energy core, but even their most skilled engineers had failed to fully understand the problem. The core seemed to react not just to mechanics, but to emotions, creativity, and a kind of harmony Syria felt had been fading from her people. She turned away from the balcony and walked through the palace halls, her long silver hair brushing softly against her shoulders. The halls were lined with shimmering panels that showed visions of her planet's history, cities rising, gardens blooming, and Leorans laughing together in unity. Syria had always loved these halls. They reminded her of the stories her parents had told her as a child, stories of explorers, inventors, and friends from distant worlds who had once visited Leora and shared knowledge, art, and laughter. Her thoughts drifted to one visitor in particular, a human boy named Ethan. She had met him long ago, when she was just a child, during a rare interworld exchange program. Humans were not common visitors, and he had been different from any other visitor she had ever known. He had laughed at her jokes, shared stories of his own world, and marveled at Leora's floating gardens with the same curiosity she had always felt. Most importantly, he had believed in the power of kindness and creativity. Syria remembered the day he had left. She had felt a strange emptiness in her chest, as if a piece of joy had quietly slipped away. She never thought she would see him again. Yet now, faced with the slow fading of her world, she wondered if perhaps fate had a way of bringing the right person at the right time. The palace communication room buzzed softly. Syria approached the main console, where a holographic projection of her chief advisor, Meles, appeared. Meles was an older Leoran, with eyes that glimmered like polished stones and a voice that always carried calm reassurance. "Your Highness," Meles said, bowing slightly, "we have tried all conventional methods to restore the energy core. The instruments show that the problem is not purely technical. It reacts to thought, emotion, and creativity. It needs something more." Syria nodded slowly, understanding immediately what he meant. "You believe it needs more than machines," she said softly. Meles' eyes met hers. "Yes, it may need something or someone from another world, a human mind, perhaps. Your Highness, only humans seem to think in ways that can harmonize with the core's ancient design. We have records of the old interworld programs. There was a human who visited long ago, a boy named Ethan. He was curious, gentle, and full of imagination. Perhaps he can help." Syria's heart leaped. She had remembered him clearly all these years. Could it be possible that he was still willing to help? Could a human, the same one she had laughed with as a child, be the key to saving her world? "I will send a message," she said, her voice steady but filled with hope. "Invite him to Leora. Tell him that the world needs him." Meles nodded. "As you wish, Your Highness. The message will be sent immediately." As Syria left the communication room, she felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. The thought of seeing Ethan again brought memories rushing back. The sound of his laughter, the way his eyes had lit up with curiosity, the gentle encouragement he had always given her when she doubted herself. And yet there was a part of her that wondered, what if he had changed? What if he had forgotten Leora, forgotten her? Days passed slowly, and Syria spent them walking among the gardens, speaking with her people, and observing the subtle changes in her world. She noticed that even the smallest acts of creativity, like children painting in the floating art studios or musicians playing melodies in the parks, made the core glow slightly brighter. The planet responded not just to technology, but to joy, imagination, and unity. It was clear to Syria that her people had forgotten this truth over time, relying only on the mechanics of their cities instead of the harmony that had built them. Then, one morning, the palace received a reply. The holographic screen flickered to life, and there he was, Ethan. Older now, but with the same kind eyes and gentle smile she remembered. He waved, and her heart caught in her chest. "Princess Syria," he said warmly, "I got your message. I remember you. I would be honored to help." Tears sprang to her eyes. She bowed slightly, feeling both joy and relief. "Ethan," she whispered, "I never thought I would see you again. Thank you for coming." He smiled. "I could not stay away, not when a world needs help, and I wanted to see you again." The people of Leora watched as Ethan arrived in their city, stepping carefully onto the floating platforms with wonder and awe. They had heard stories of humans, but few had seen one in person. Many were skeptical. How could a human possibly understand the delicate balance of their world? But Syria's confidence never wavered. She knew him and she trusted him. Ethan began exploring the city, taking in the gardens, the architecture, and the flowing streams. He marveled at the energy core, glowing faintly beneath the planet's surface. He listened carefully to Syria and her advisors, asking questions with patience and thoughtfulness. Slowly, he began to notice patterns that even the most experienced Leoran engineers had overlooked. "It's not broken," he said one evening, standing beside Syria on the balcony. The sunset painted the sky in soft shades of gold and lavender. "It's just lonely. It needs connection, harmony, and creativity. It needs people to remember how to care for it, not just how to run it." Syria nodded. She understood immediately. "The planet, it responds to feelings, to trust, to hope." Ethan smiled. "Exactly. It's not about fixing machines. It's about restoring the spirit of the world." For the first time in months, Syria felt a spark of hope. Perhaps her people could save their world, not through fear or force or endless tinkering with technology, but by remembering the joy, creativity, and unity that had built it. And perhaps with Ethan by her side, they could do it together. That night, as the twin moons of Leora rose in the sky, Syria sat quietly in her room, thinking about the journey ahead. She realized that the path to saving her world would not be easy. It would require patience, wisdom, and courage. But more than that, it would require connection, between humans and Leorans, between friends and between hearts. And she knew, deep in her heart, that the human boy who had once laughed with her as a child was exactly the one who could help guide them. The first step was clear. She would help her people remember. She would help them open their hearts. And with Ethan by her side, the planet might just shine brighter than ever before. The adventure of restoring Leora had begun, not with machines or tools, but with hope, friendship, and the quiet magic of believing in each other. The sun rose over Leora, casting soft golden light across the floating city. Princess Syria walked through the palace gardens, her silver hair shimmering like sunlight on water. The flowers around her glowed faintly, sensing her presence. Even though the energy core was weak, life still flourished in small pockets, and Syria drew hope from these tiny signs. Today was important, the day Ethan would explore the city for the first time since his arrival. Ethan moved carefully across the floating platforms, marveling at everything around him. His eyes were wide with wonder as he watched streams of crystal water curve gracefully in the air and gardens float above the city. He had seen many beautiful places on Earth and other planets, but Leora's beauty felt alive. It was not just in the colors or structures. It was in the harmony, the care, the tiny details that connected every piece of the city to the next. Syria approached him, smiling warmly. "How do you find it?" she asked softly. Ethan turned, his face lighting up as he saw her. "It's more beautiful than I remembered," he said. "And it feels alive. I can almost sense its heart." Syria nodded. "You are not wrong. The planet does have a heart, but it is weak now. It responds less than it used to, and people have begun to forget how to care for it." Ethan's brow furrowed. "Then we have work to do, but I think we can restore it." They walked together through the city, observing the citizens going about their day. Children played near floating fountains, artists painted vivid murals on levitating canvases, and musicians performed gentle melodies in open-air platforms. Yet beneath the surface, Ethan could sense worry and hesitation in the people. They watched him cautiously, unsure what a human could do for their world. Syria noticed the looks. "Many are unsure of you," she said quietly. "They have never worked with a human before. They wonder, can one person, a human, really help an entire world?" Ethan smiled gently. They will see it is not about me being strong. It is about helping them remember what makes their world strong. Their first stop was the palace archives. Ancient texts, glowing holograms, and intricate maps filled the room. Syria explained the history of Leora, how it had once thrived through creativity, kindness, and cooperation, not just technology. Ethan listened carefully, taking notes and asking thoughtful questions. "These records are amazing," he said. "I can see that your people once lived in balance with the planet. You shared knowledge with other worlds, learned from them, and contributed back. That harmony, maybe that is the key to restoring the core." Syria nodded. "The energy core responds to harmony, not just mechanics. It reacts to thought, emotion, and creativity, but many have forgotten. They have focused only on the physical systems, not on the life and spirit that sustain them." Ethan's eyes brightened. "Then we need to help them remember. Not by forcing them, but by showing them that their world thrives when they are together, when they care, and when they create." Syria smiled. She had always known Ethan could see deeply into situations, even as a child. His calm confidence reassured her. Perhaps he truly could help her people see the truth they had forgotten. Over the next few days, Ethan visited different parts of the city. He watched children in art schools, listened to musicians, and spoke with engineers. He encouraged everyone to think creatively, to experiment, and to see beyond the machinery. Slowly, the glow of the energy core responded. It pulsed faintly, as if acknowledging their renewed attention. However, not all were convinced. Some advisors whispered doubts to Syria. "A human cannot understand our ways," one said. "He may mislead the princess. Our world is too delicate to rely on someone from another planet." Syria listened but did not respond harshly. She trusted Ethan, and she believed her people would follow if given the chance. She approached her citizens openly, speaking to them with warmth and honesty. "You have all lived on this world for generations," she said. "You know its strength, its beauty, and its heart. I ask you now to trust a friend, someone who believes in harmony, creativity, and hope. Together, we can restore our world, not just its energy, but its spirit." Her words were simple, yet they carried power. Slowly, the people began to listen. They saw Ethan not as an outsider, but as someone who genuinely cared about Leora. Children approached him, asking questions. Artists shared their work, seeking advice. Engineers examined the core alongside him, open to new ideas. Ethan noticed something remarkable. The energy core seemed to respond not only to the people's actions, but to their emotions. When citizens laughed, created, or shared, the core's glow intensified. When doubt or worry surfaced, it dimmed slightly. He realized that the planet was more than a machine. It was a reflection of the hearts and minds of its people. One afternoon, Ethan and Syria climbed to a high balcony overlooking the central gardens. Below them, citizens gathered for a creative festival, painting murals, playing music, and crafting sculptures. The energy core pulsed faintly beneath the surface, responding to the collective joy and harmony. "Look at them," Syria said softly. "They are beginning to remember. Perhaps our world is not beyond hope." Ethan nodded. "It is beautiful. The key is simple. People just need to believe they can make a difference, and then they do." As the days passed, Syria and Ethan worked closely together. They encouraged citizens to share ideas, collaborate on projects, and engage in creative exercises. Music filled the streets, gardens flourished, and the floating platforms shimmered brighter than before. The city was slowly waking from a long period of forgetfulness, and Ethan could see the transformation taking place in both the people and the planet itself. One evening, as the twin moons rose high above the city, Syria and Ethan stood on the palace balcony again. The sky glowed with colors more vibrant than she had seen in years, and the energy core pulsed steadily below, as if in rhythm with the hearts of the people. "Ethan," Syria said quietly, "I cannot thank you enough. You have given my world hope again, and not just by fixing the core, but by reminding my people of who they truly are." Ethan smiled, his eyes reflecting the moonlight. "It is not me who saved your world, it is your people. I simply helped them see what they already knew deep inside." Syria felt a warmth in her heart. She had known Ethan as a friend when she was a child, but now she saw him in a new light, as a guide, a teacher, and a partner in restoring her world. She realized that the greatest strength of any world was not technology or power, but friendship, trust, and creativity. Over time, more citizens joined in the efforts. Farmers shared new ways to grow gardens in floating plots. Artists collaborated on murals that reflected the history and hope of Leora. Engineers and technicians explored new designs, inspired by Ethan's unique perspective. The energy core, once dim and weak, began to glow with increasing brilliance. Its light reflected in the eyes of the people, who laughed, sang, and worked together once more. Yet amid this progress, Syria knew their work was not finished. The core's full power would only return when the planet's harmony was complete, when every citizen, young and old, felt a connection to their world and to one another. She looked at Ethan, and he nodded knowingly. They understood each other without words. The journey ahead would be long, but it was worth every effort. One morning, Ethan led Syria to a quiet hill overlooking the city. The gardens below shimmered in the early light, and the floating streams sparkled like rivers of crystal fire. "Syria," Ethan said, "your people have taken the first steps. They have begun to remember, to trust, to create." The energy core responds not just to machines, but to life, love, and hope. If they continue, the world will not just survive, it will thrive. Syria smiled, feeling a surge of hope. "Then we must continue. Together we can guide them, show them what is possible, and help them restore our world fully." Ethan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "And I will be here. You are not alone in this. Remember how we believed in each other as children? That belief still matters. It can change everything." The princess looked at him, her heart filled with gratitude and admiration. She had always known humans could be remarkable, but she had never imagined that one human could rekindle the spirit of her entire world. Below them, the city of Leora continued its slow awakening. Children played, adults collaborated, and gardens glowed brighter than before. The energy core pulsed with steady light, reflecting the renewed harmony of the people. And as the sun climbed higher into the sky, Syria knew that with patience, guidance, and the return of friendship, their world could shine brighter than ever. In that moment, Princess Syria realized the truth. Heroes were not defined by strength or power, but by the ability to inspire, encourage, and restore hope. And the hero who had returned to Leora, someone she had once known as a child, was already making that difference, one heart at a time. The journey of restoring the planet was just beginning, but for the first time in a long time, Syria felt the spark of confidence, excitement, and belief that Leora would not only survive, but flourish. And together with Ethan, she would guide her people to a future brighter than they had ever imagined. The mornings on Leora were always serene, but today felt different. Princess Syria walked through the palace gardens with Ethan at her side, both of them quietly observing the people below. The city was slowly coming alive. Children laughed as they experimented with floating art projects, and engineers tinkered with small adjustments to the energy core's auxiliary systems. The streams sparkled brighter, and gardens seemed to glow with renewed life. Yet, Syria knew there was still more to understand. The energy core was stronger, but its true strength had not yet returned. Ethan had been studying the planet's ancient records in the archives for days. He pored over holographic texts, sketches, and old star maps that detailed the origins of the energy core. Each page revealed something remarkable. Leora's planet had once thrived not just because of technology, but because humans and Leorans had worked together in harmony. The core responded to emotions, creativity, and cooperation across species. Over generations, however, the connection had weakened. Humans had visited less often, and Leorans had begun to rely solely on machines to maintain their world. "Syria," Ethan said one morning, standing beside a glowing holographic projection of the energy core. "The core isn't failing because it's broken. It's fading because it's lonely. It used to be powered by shared effort, trust, and joy. It responds to unity. Your people have been working hard, but they've forgotten the deeper connection." Syria frowned thoughtfully. "I had suspected as much. The core seemed to react when people created together, laughed, or expressed hope, but I did not realize how deep this connection went." "How could we help the people fully understand?" Ethan smiled gently. "We don't need to force them, we need to show them, and we need to do it together. I can help guide them, but they must remember on their own." He led Syria through the palace archives to a quiet chamber where old Leoran records were stored. Holographic images of Leora's earliest cities and ancient interworld exchanges filled the space. Ethan pointed to one projection. "See this." Long ago, humans and Leorans worked together on energy projects, art, and education. The energy core responded to creativity and emotion, not just mechanics. They weren't just maintaining the planet, they were sharing their hearts. Syria's eyes widened. It's incredible. Our ancestors understood that life, emotion, and creativity were as important as technology itself, and somehow we lost this understanding over time. Ethan nodded. Exactly, and now the planet is asking for that balance again. It's not about repairing machines, it's about restoring harmony. Syria took a deep breath. She realized that the challenge was greater than she had imagined. She had believed that guiding her people to work together and be creative would be enough. But she now understood that Leora needed something more. It needed a reminder of what humans and Leorans had once shared. Over the next several days, Ethan began a new approach. He worked with Syria to design activities that would encourage unity and creativity on a deeper level. They invited children and adults to collaborate on large-scale art projects that represented the planet's history and future. Musicians were asked to compose melodies that reflected both joy and hope. Engineers worked with artists to create interactive sculptures that responded to light, movement, and sound. The energy core began to respond in ways that surprised even Ethan. When the people laughed, danced, or expressed wonder, the core pulsed with bright, steady light. When frustration or doubt surfaced, its glow dimmed slightly. Ethan realized that the core was a mirror, reflecting not only the collective action of the people but their emotions and intentions. One afternoon, as Syria watched from a balcony, she noticed a group of citizens struggling to complete a floating mural. The mural represented the history of Leora, but their teamwork faltered. Colors bled where they did not belong, and parts of the mural hovered unevenly in the air. Syria approached them quietly, and Ethan followed. "You don't need perfection," Syria said softly. "The core responds to effort, to care, and to unity. Work together, share ideas, and enjoy the process. That is what will bring life to your world." Ethan added, "Remember how humans and Leorans worked together long ago. It wasn't about being perfect. It was about connecting, sharing, and believing that together you could create something amazing." The citizens looked at them with renewed determination. Slowly, they adjusted their work, laughed at small mistakes, and celebrated small successes. The mural began to glow faintly, hovering in perfect balance above the platform. Below them, the energy core pulsed brighter, responding to the unity of the people. As the days went on, Ethan and Syria noticed another important pattern. The core's strength increased not only when people created, but when they helped one another. Acts of kindness, cooperation, and encouragement sent waves of light through the city. Gardens grew taller, streams sparkled brighter, and floating platforms shimmered with renewed energy. Syria realized that the people of Leora had forgotten that caring for one another was as important as caring for the world itself. "We must teach them," she said, "that every small act of kindness matters. Every smile, every shared idea, every gesture of support, these are what the planet needs most." Ethan nodded. "And the best part is they are capable of it. They just need to remember." Together, they organized a festival that combined art, music, storytelling, and communal creation. Citizens from every corner of Leora participated, sharing knowledge, helping one another, and celebrating the beauty of their world. The energy core pulsed in perfect rhythm with the collective joy, casting a warm glow that could be seen across the floating city. One evening, Syria and Ethan walked along a floating bridge overlooking the festival. The streets below shimmered with lights, laughter, and movement. The energy core's glow reached the highest gardens, and for the first time in decades, Leora felt alive in the way it had centuries ago. "Look at them," Syria said, her eyes shining. "They are remembering. They are learning to connect again, not just with the planet, but with each other." Ethan smiled. "And they are doing it on their own. We guided them, yes, but they are rediscovering their strength. That is the true power of this world, its people." As they watched, a group of children approached them, holding small crystals that glowed faintly in their hands. "Princess Syria, Ethan," one of the children said, "we are helping the planet. Look how bright it is now." The crystals pulsed with light, responding to the children's joy and excitement. Syria knelt beside them, feeling a warmth in her heart. "You are helping Leora," she said softly. "Every act of creativity, every smile, every kind thought, it all matters." Ethan knelt beside her. "Do you see, Syria? This is what the planet has been waiting for. It's not about machines or technology. It's about the hearts of its people. They have the power to restore everything." As the festival continued late into the night, Syria and Ethan reflected on the deeper truth they had discovered. Leora's energy core was more than a machine. It was a living reflection of unity, creativity, and care. Its strength depended not only on the skill of the people, but on their ability to work together, share joy, and believe in the power of connection. Syria felt a surge of hope. She realized that their work was not just about restoring the planet, it was about rekindling the spirit of the people. If they succeeded, Leora would shine brighter than ever before, not only as a city of technology and beauty, but as a world of heart, imagination, and harmony. Ethan looked at her, sensing her thoughts. The core responds to everything we do, but the most important thing is belief, belief in each other, and belief in the world we can create together. Syria nodded. Then we must continue. We must guide them, support them, and remind them of what they already know. Only then will the energy core fully awaken. As the festival came to a close, the citizens of Leora gathered to admire the results of their combined efforts. The murals, music, and gardens glowed with new life, and the floating city pulsed with energy and harmony. The energy core, once dim and weak, now shone steadily, reflecting the renewed unity of the people. In that moment, Princess Syria understood something profound. The true strength of her world did not lie in machines, technology, or even the energy core itself. It lay in the hearts of her people, their creativity, their cooperation, and their willingness to care for one another. And with Ethan by her side, guiding, encouraging, and reminding them of the power of connection, she knew that Leora could fully restore its brilliance. The journey was far from over, but Syria felt a deep confidence in what lay ahead. The hidden truth of Leora had been revealed. The planet's energy core was not just a source of power, it was a reflection of life itself, thriving when the hearts of its people worked in harmony. And now, with understanding, guidance, and renewed hope, they could awaken their world completely. The stars above Leora twinkled gently, as if acknowledging the progress below. And for the first time in many years, the princess felt certain that her world was on the path not just to survival, but to brilliance beyond imagination. The morning sun spilled over Leora, painting the floating gardens and shimmering streets with golden light. Princess Syria stood on the palace balcony, her eyes sweeping across the city. It was alive with movement. Children laughing as they painted glowing murals, artists experimenting with floating sculptures, and engineers adjusting devices that responded to the planet's energy. The city's pulse was growing stronger, but Syria knew that the true challenge had only just begun. Beside her, Ethan adjusted his notes and smiled. "It is beautiful," he said quietly, "but this is just the beginning." To restore the planet fully, the people must not only create, they must understand the impact of their cooperation and care. Syria nodded. Then we will guide them. Step by step, we will show them the power of unity, hope, and creativity. Ethan's eyes sparkled with determination. Exactly. Today we start something new. A festival of light, knowledge, and creation. Everyone will participate, everyone will contribute, and the planet will respond to their collective spirit. Together, Syria and Ethan visited different neighborhoods of the city. In the floating marketplaces, they encouraged artisans and craftsmen to share their knowledge. In the music halls, they asked musicians to compose melodies reflecting joy and hope. Children were taught to collaborate on interactive projects that required teamwork, patience, and imagination. Each activity was designed not just to entertain, but to awaken the connection between the people and their world. At first, some citizens were hesitant. "Can one human truly help us?" whispered a young engineer to her friend. "He does not know our ways." Syria overheard and gently intervened. "Ethan may not have lived here, but he remembers something important, what your world needs most. He reminds us of the power of kindness, creativity, and belief. Trust him and trust yourselves." The young engineer hesitated, then nodded. "We will try." Ethan and Syria led the first communal activity near the heart of the city, where the energy core's glow could be faintly seen through the transparent platforms. They invited citizens to build a collaborative sculpture that represented the unity of Leora. Blocks of glowing crystal floated in the air, responding to touch and intention. The citizens hesitated at first, unsure how to coordinate, but Ethan spoke gently, guiding them. "Remember, this is not about perfection," he said. "It is about connection. Talk to one another. Share ideas. Trust that together you can create something remarkable." Slowly, the people began to coordinate. Children suggested colors, artists advised on patterns, and engineers adjusted the floating crystals so they balanced perfectly. Laughter filled the air as mistakes were met with gentle encouragement rather than frustration. The sculpture began to glow brighter with every act of collaboration, reflecting the growing unity of the citizens. Syria watched, her heart swelling with pride. "They are learning," she whispered. "The planet is responding to their joy and cooperation." Ethan nodded. "And this is only the start. Every small act of care, creativity, or teamwork strengthens the connection to the core. The world will continue to awaken as long as they remember how to work together." Throughout the day, Syria and Ethan moved from place to place, observing and guiding. In the music halls, musicians practiced new melodies that echoed throughout the city. The harmonies caused nearby gardens to bloom more vibrantly, and streams of water danced higher into the air. In the art districts, murals took shape, each telling stories of hope, friendship, and unity. Children and adults painted, sculpted, and experimented together, their joy radiating through the streets. Ethan noticed something remarkable. "Syria," he said as they walked through a bustling square, "the energy core is reacting not only to creation but to encouragement. When people help one another, when they share knowledge or celebrate small successes, the planet responds even more strongly. Kindness and cooperation are as powerful as creativity itself." Syria smiled. "Then we must remind everyone that every small act matters. Every helping hand, every shared smile, it all strengthens our world." That evening, the festival reached its peak. Citizens gathered in the central plaza, where the floating sculpture they had built earlier now hovered majestically, pulsing with bright, steady light. Music filled the air, blending with the laughter and chatter of the crowd. Lights shimmered across the city, reflecting from the energy core, creating a symphony of color and life. Syria stepped forward, addressing her people. "Look at what we have created together," she said. "Each of you has contributed to this moment. Every act of cooperation, every smile, every shared idea has helped our world awaken. This is the true power of Leora. It lies not in machines or crystals, but in the hearts of its people." The crowd listened in awe, many realizing for the first time the significance of their collective efforts. Ethan joined her, his voice calm but full of warmth. "The energy core is more than a source of power. It reflects your unity, your creativity, and your care for one another. When you work together and believe in what you can achieve, the world responds. You are stronger than you realize." As the festival continued, citizens began to actively seek ways to cooperate. Engineers shared new methods for balancing floating platforms. Musicians collaborated on compositions that harmonized with the natural sounds of the planet. Children and adults designed gardens that glowed with their collective energy. Every act, no matter how small, contributed to the planet's restoration. Ethan and Syria observed these changes with quiet satisfaction. The energy core, once dim and weak, now pulsed steadily, radiating warmth and light across Leora. The floating gardens thrived, streams sparkled, and the city itself seemed to breathe in harmony with its people. One afternoon, as they walked through a quiet garden, Syria reflected on the progress they had made. "Ethan," she said softly, "I see now why humans are so remarkable. You teach not through force, but through encouragement and belief. That is the greatest gift of all." Ethan smiled. "Humans have strength, yes, but our true power lies in inspiring others, believing in them, and showing that small acts of care can have extraordinary effects. And your people have that power too. They just needed a reminder." Syria's eyes glimmered. "And with that reminder, Leora can flourish, not just survive, but thrive. We can restore our world to the brilliance it once had, and even beyond that." As the days turned into weeks, the city continued to awaken. Citizens collaborated on large-scale projects, combining art, music, and technology. Gardens flourished in floating plots, streams danced higher, and murals glowed with the energy of countless hands. The energy core responded to every act of cooperation, pulsing brighter with each wave of shared creativity and kindness. Ethan and Syria continued to guide the people, offering advice and encouragement while allowing the citizens to take the lead. Slowly, the people began to understand the deeper truth. The planet's strength was not in machinery or crystals, but in their unity, creativity, and care. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the city, Syria and Ethan stood on a balcony overlooking the festival grounds. The energy core glowed brightly beneath the city, reflecting the harmony and joy of the citizens. Children played in glowing gardens, artists sculpted luminous forms, and musicians filled the air with melodies of hope. Syria turned to Ethan, her heart full of gratitude. "Look at them, Ethan. They are learning to connect again, not just with the planet, but with each other. The true strength of our world is returning." Ethan smiled, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "And it is because they remembered. We guided them, yes, but they chose to believe in themselves and in each other. That is what makes this world strong." The princess nodded. She had always known that humans could be remarkable, but seeing Ethan's gentle guidance in action had shown her a new perspective. True heroism was not about strength or power. It was about inspiring belief, fostering creativity, and encouraging hope. As the festival drew to a close, the people of Leora gathered to admire their work. Floating gardens glowed brighter than ever, murals shimmered with vibrant colors, and the energy core pulsed steadily, reflecting the renewed spirit of the citizens. The city shone as a testament to unity, creativity, and the power of shared effort. Syria realized that the journey of restoring Leora was far from over, but the planet's path to brilliance was now clear. The citizens had rediscovered the strength within themselves, and with Ethan by her side, they could continue to awaken their world fully. In that moment, Princess Syria understood the greatest truth of all. Heroes are not defined by strength or power, but by the ability to inspire, encourage, and help others see the light within themselves. And the hero who had returned to Leora, someone she had once known as a child, was showing that light, one heart at a time. As the night settled over Leora, the twin moons reflecting in the glowing streams, Syria felt a quiet confidence in the future. The energy core was brighter than it had been in generations, but more importantly, the hearts of the people had awakened. Together, with creativity, kindness, and unity, they would continue to restore their world, and humanity's light had shown them the way. And so, the city of Leora thrived, a shining example of what could be achieved when hearts worked together, and the spirit of hope and creativity led the way. The first light of dawn stretched across Leora, casting a gentle glow over the floating gardens and sparkling streams. Princess Syria stood on the palace balcony, her eyes scanning the city below. The streets were alive with movement and laughter, brighter than she had ever seen them. Music drifted from the open plazas, and children darted across floating platforms, their smiles reflecting the renewed energy of the planet. Beside her, Ethan watched quietly, a soft smile on his face. "The planet responds beautifully," he said. "But there is one final step, Syria. The people must understand the truth, not just feel it. They need to see that their hearts, their creativity, and their unity are what restored this world." Syria nodded. She had felt this moment approaching for days. The citizens had worked hard, rediscovering the harmony and hope that had been forgotten for generations. But now it was time for a revelation, one that would allow Leora to fully awaken and flourish. With Ethan at her side, Syria descended into the central plaza. Citizens had gathered, curious to see what the princess wished to announce. Children clutched glowing crystals, artists held floating sculptures, and musicians paused mid-performance, awaiting her words. A hush fell over the crowd as Syria raised her hand. "Citizens of Leora," she began, her voice calm but strong, "our world has faced a challenge unlike any before. The energy core, the heart of our planet, has weakened over time. We feared that our world might fade, that our cities might lose their light, that our gardens might wilt forever. But today, I am here to tell you that our world has been saved." A ripple of astonished whispers moved through the crowd. Some looked around, searching for the hero responsible. Syria smiled gently. "The hero who has helped us restore Leora is not someone with power or strength. The hero is someone who reminded us of the truth we had forgotten, the importance of connection, creativity, and care. He is someone I once knew as a child, a human boy named Ethan." Gasps of surprise spread through the crowd. Humans were rare visitors to Leora, and few had seen one in person. The idea that a single human could help restore the planet seemed almost impossible to some. Syria raised her hand to quiet them. "Do not be shocked," she said softly. "Ethan is not strong because of technology or magic. He is strong because he inspires belief, encourages creativity, and shows us the power of unity. He has reminded us all that our true strength lies in our hearts, in our willingness to work together, and in our ability to care for one another." Ethan stepped forward, bowing slightly in respect to the people. "Citizens of Leora," he said, his voice calm and warm, "I did not save this world alone. I only helped you remember what you already knew. Each of you has contributed your creativity, your joy, your kindness. You are the ones who restored your world. And this is why your planet shines again. It reflects your hearts." The crowd erupted in a mixture of applause and laughter. Children waved their glowing crystals, artists pointed proudly at their creations, and adults exchanged smiles of realization. For many, it was the first time they truly understood the connection between their actions and the planet's energy. Syria watched with pride and gratitude. She approached Ethan, her eyes shining. "You were right. It was not only the work we did, but the belief and care of every person that made this possible, and the people needed to see this for themselves." Ethan smiled. "And they have. Now they understand that the world responds to their hearts. This knowledge will last for generations." Syria turned to the citizens, her voice carrying across the plaza. "From this day forward, let us remember the lessons we have learned. Let us care for one another, share our creativity, and work together. Leora is not just a planet of beauty and technology, it is a reflection of our hearts, and together we can ensure that it shines brighter than ever before." The citizens cheered, their voices echoing across the city. Many approached Ethan, thanking him for his guidance, for reminding them of their strength, and for helping to restore hope to their world. Children asked questions, eager to learn more about humans and their ways. Artists and engineers shared ideas, excited to continue creating together. Ethan felt a quiet warmth in his heart. He had never expected to become a symbol, but he understood that the greatest impact came not from fame or recognition, but from inspiring others to believe in themselves. As the day progressed, Syria and Ethan walked through the city together, observing the continuing revival. Floating gardens glowed brighter, streams sparkled higher, and murals reflected the combined creativity of countless citizens. The energy core pulsed steadily beneath the surface, responding to every act of kindness, cooperation, and imagination. Syria paused near a group of children playing with floating crystals. "Do you see, Ethan?" she said softly. "They understand now. Even the youngest among them can feel the power of connection. This knowledge will guide them as they grow, and Leora will continue to thrive." Ethan nodded. "Yes, the core responds not just to work or technology, but to belief, hope, and cooperation. And now that the people understand, this world will continue to flourish for generations." That evening, Syria led the citizens to the central plaza for a final celebration of the restoration. Lights shimmered across the floating city, reflecting from the energy core, which pulsed with a warm, steady glow. Music filled the air, blending harmoniously with laughter, conversation, and the soft sounds of nature. Children danced, artists displayed their glowing creations, and engineers demonstrated innovative projects that combined creativity and technology. Syria stepped forward, her voice carrying over the crowd. "Today, we celebrate not just the restoration of our planet, but the awakening of our hearts. We have learned that true strength is not found in machines, crystals, or technology. It is found in our connections, our care, and our creativity. Leora shines because of each of you, and together we will continue to make it stronger, brighter, and more beautiful than ever." The citizens cheered again, their hearts full of pride and joy. Ethan stood beside Syria, humbled by the gratitude and admiration of the people. He knew that the planet's true heroes were not him, but the citizens themselves, the ones who had embraced creativity, cooperation, and kindness. As the festival continued late into the night, Syria and Ethan shared a quiet moment on a balcony overlooking the city. The floating gardens glowed softly, streams shimmered with gentle light, and the energy core pulsed steadily below. "You have given this world hope, Ethan," Syria said, her voice filled with emotion. "And not just by helping restore the core, but by inspiring belief and kindness. You have reminded us of what truly matters." Ethan smiled softly. "It was never just me, Syria. You and your people did all the work. I only helped guide the way. The true strength of Leora lies in its citizens, their hearts, their creativity, and their unity." Syria nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "And now we all understand that. This lesson will not be forgotten." Below them, the city thrived like never before. Citizens continued to collaborate, create, and celebrate. Floating gardens glimmered with renewed life, streams danced with sparkling energy, and the energy core glowed brilliantly, reflecting the collective spirit of the people. Ethan turned to Syria, his expression thoughtful. You know, it is remarkable how simple it really is. When people believe in themselves and care for each other, even the most complex challenges can be overcome. This is humanity's light, and now your people carry it too. Syria smiled, feeling warmth spread through her heart. And together we will ensure that Leora continues to shine, not just through technology, but through hope, creativity, and the strength of our hearts. As the twin moons rose over the floating city, casting silver light across the gardens and streams, Princess Syria realized that the journey had been about more than restoring an energy core. It had been about awakening the spirit of a world, rekindling belief, and showing that the greatest power lay not in strength, but in unity, kindness, and creativity. The citizens of Leora, inspired and joyful, understood the truth as well. Their planet's brilliance was a reflection of their own hearts, and with guidance, belief, and cooperation, they could ensure it shone brightly forever. And at the heart of it all, Ethan, the human boy who had once been a childhood friend, stood humbly, knowing that true heroism was not about doing everything alone, but about inspiring others to believe in their own strength. Princess Syria watched him, her heart full of admiration. "Thank you, Ethan," she said softly, "for helping us see what truly matters and for showing that a single act of care and guidance can awaken the hearts of an entire world." Ethan smiled, his eyes reflecting the glowing city below. "Humans never give up on their friends, Syria, and I believe that the greatest gift we can give any world is hope." The city of Leora pulsed with life, brighter than ever. Gardens, streams, and floating platforms shimmered with renewed energy, and the citizens, young and old, celebrated the knowledge that their hearts, creativity, and cooperation had restored their world. Princess Syria knew, as she looked over the thriving city and the steady glow of the energy core, that Leora's future was secure, not because of machines, but because its people had rediscovered the power within themselves. And with Ethan by her side, humanity's light had illuminated the path for all to follow. The planet, once fading, now glowed with hope, creativity, and unity. And in the hearts of every citizen, the lesson remained clear. The greatest heroes are those who inspire others, guide them with kindness, and help them believe in the power of their own hearts. Leora had been restored, and it shone brighter than ever, a world saved not by strength alone, but by the boundless light of unity, creativity, and humanity's enduring hope.